Hey everybody, welcome to AJS News. This is video 2 of 2 for today.
But first, a word from our sponsors, which is Extra Wallets, guys. Coming up, holidays are coming up, where there's a huge sale up to 50% off. So click the links down below. Now is the time to grab it.
Free shipping, 12-month warranty, free returns,
Gonna love it.
Do it.
If you already got one, give one to your friends, family, get some stocking stuffers early. And okay, so welcome to part 2 of the news. Alex, tell us what the hell else has been going on in gaming news.
Episode 2 of the news, we're talking about Half-Life 2. It reached a new record at over 60,000 concurrent players following the 20th anniversary celebrations. It is also for free right now on Steam, so if you have never played it and you want to, just go over there and click the button, and then it's in your library.
Yeah, Half-Life will always be there, and it's one of the greats. It's a damn shame, though.
Yeah, and so Half-Life.
What happened?
We also got some news about Episode 3.
This is the damn shame.
Yeah, so Episode 3, they started working on it for 6 months. They had all sorts of interesting ideas, level design, new guns, apparently like a Mr. Freeze type gun where you'd make ice bridges and stuff. And then it just stopped. And so they said that they ran out of, with the tools they had, they were running out of fun stuff to do. It was becoming samey, according to them. So they had started to run out of things to do with the tools and features they had developed. And so they just didn't want to press on forward. And so at the time, they switched over and started working on Left 4 Dead, just to kind of all hands to make sure Left 4 Dead launched the way they wanted to.
And they never went back. That just seems lazy to me, man. I think I'm lost all sympathy for all these stories about Half-Life 3 and Half-Life 2 Episode 3 and all this other stuff, this episodic stuff, breaking it down easier so you can stop doing it whenever you feel like, it wasn't fun enough, so we're just not going to make it.
Yeah.
Just so many fans and people waiting. Yeah, even if it's not the greatest fucking thing of all time, you still got to finish your project and finish the story and deliver on essentially the promises that you've been setting up in all the previous. So I don't know.
But they don't have to because
it's a victim of their own success because they made so much money that they didn't have to do shit.
All they have to do is sit there and collect anywhere from 30 to 8% of all video game sales that come through them as the largest platform. So
yeah, that's probably the real reason why we'll never see another Half-Life.
No more Team Fortress, no more Portal, Left 4 Dead. I think they stop after 2 on all of these things. So I'd want to play part 3 of all of those ones.
Yeah.
So, but not getting it.
In our dreams, and then by the time we get it, the younger generation of the people that came before aren't gonna know them like we do, and so when they come out, they're not gonna be these critically, or not critically, but huge successes with built-in user bases because people have moved on.
Yeah. Eventually,
so that's probably why they'll never do it.
There will be a game that comes out, and they're like, oh, look, I was looking at this game Portal. Portal totally ripped off this Roblox thing, and I'll have to slap a child, and I'm not supposed to do that anymore.
No, you're not supposed to slap children and punch them and don't drink OJ in the hood or being a menace.
Yeah.
When he's punching all the kids. Yeah. And I don't know how that became a depressing story to me. Half-Life 2 free!
It's for free. Go get it.
It's for free. It's a great game. Go get it. But don't expect the conclusion of those stories.
Yeah.
Ever. Instead, expect Valve to every once in a while jump into the fucking, card game crazes and do stupid shit like that.
Yeah. Well, now it's Deadlock. The shooter MOBA thing is.
Jump into the MOBA phase with relatively uninspired art and characters. I'm probably going to get downvoted for that, but I don't really care.
It's going to make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. That game's going to do gangbusters.
Yeah, it's fine. I just didn't like the style of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got news this week from Zenimax. There's a strike. Even here in town, people were on strike. So members of Zenimax Workers United CWA Union says firm did not notify union about contracting out work. So hundreds of employees were striking in response to the remote work policy and then some outsourcing. So we
So they're striking here. When you say here, you mean Boston, Texas?
Yeah, that's right.
Boston, Texas.
Yeah, and so they allegedly contracting out QA work without notifying the union, which is exactly what we said was going to happen when we started talking about gaming unions. And not that we don't want strong unions, because we are very, very much strong union people, and this is how workers can protect themselves from the greediness of shitheads who run companies like Zenimax and Take-Two and EA and all these other ones. But it's important to also realize that these people will do anything that they can to make the games, make more money, including shit on their own workers, like the QA people that they've been doing it for years. And so apparently and allegedly they were just contracting out QA work, saying, I don't feel like paying union wages, so I'm not going to. And that's just kind of, we have to decide what kind of country and economy we want if we can allow stuff like that to happen. So it was
Yeah, remember back in January 2023, they became the Zenimax Workers United, CWA, became the first video game studio union at Microsoft. These people represent over 300 QA workers in Maryland and Texas. Hard-ass working people.
Yeah. And
the companies just said, oh, okay. Hey, do you want to work instead for half what they are working?
Well, what country do you live in? I can give you 1/10 the amount of money and you just remote work. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I never considered that. Yeah, maybe hiring from outside of the U.S.
It's a problem with a service-based economy is if your services can be completely outsourced to somewhere else, then no one has jobs.
Yeah.
So it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Meanwhile, record profits. Meanwhile, layoffs, more layoffs. Meanwhile, CEO pays going up. I mean, this is all stuff we've covered. This is all stuff you can look up yourself. And, yeah, it kind of sucks. Because I do want to see, developers, even QA, which some people are, they're the lowest of the low. Hey, man, those people make the games work. You can come up with all the creative ideas you can, but if shit is broken, constant bugs, glitches, constant patching to try to get something into a working phase, if you have really good QAs, then the vision that you had comes to fruition right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I always say, get it right the first time. So those people are just as important, and I do also want protections for, the frontline developers as well. So it's crazy. It's crazy to see, corporations going to corporate.
Yeah.
Always going to be corporating. That's why I think it's fair to have some protections, some regulation, smart, common sense ones.
Yeah.
Otherwise, shit like this will happen.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately what needs to happen is more of the non-QA workers needs to join the union, because ultimately if it's like, oh, only our QA people are leaving, who cares? We wanted to replace those guys anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's like getting more developers, more high-end people, more high-end artists, not only protect their work, but just everyone is stronger, ape strong together.
Yeah.
And then that's ultimately what we need to do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have been advocating for America First. So why not, instead of outsourcing quality assurance work, pay Americans first?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that'd be a good idea?
Yeah, maybe pay the Americans,
Yeah, maybe. Just maybe.
All right. Well, we'll see if they put their money where their mouth is, and we'll monitor this.
It's Zenimax. We know where their mouth is.
And see if these striking workers get any concessions and get any policy changes to help out with what they're asking.
We're gonna get we're sorry.
We're sorry. And
then they're just gonna do it again. All right, Ubisoft has canceled the Splinter Cell movie. This is all the way back in 2013. They wanted to make a Splinter Cell movie. They wanted Tom Hardy to star in it, and it was going to be hardcore, and all these, the people talking about how it was going to be great. They just said they couldn't get it right. Script-wise, budget-wise, I guess they just had the wrong people working on this thing. Because
damn it,
it's not happening.
I actually think that would have been really cool.
Yeah,
I think Tom Hardy is a huge draw. I think the women's love him. I think the men's love him. I think he needs something to have after Venom. Man's not going to play Venom for the rest of his life, even though he's a surprisingly good voice actor for Venom. I think that would have been really cool. And come on, man. spy thrillers and shit is hot these days.
It was.
I don't understand how they couldn't get that going.
They signed on to make this before John Wick even came out, and then
Holy
after
shit!
Because John Wick came out in 2014, so had they had done this, they got everything going in 2013. Saw the success of John Wick. All you had to do is put your foot on the gas, and then we could have had something real. I mean, they're a little different, but it's like I think that kind of hardcore, violent.
Military focused fucking
would have been really cool.
Sweet ass technology with the Splinter Cell stuff and the black suits would have been fucking awesome.
They also had a great director, Doug Liman, who did Edge of Tomorrow, which is a movie that surprised the hell out of me with how much I like that one. So it's like
instead we're spending that kind of money for shit like Red One, which is a perfect fucking lead in for my story. I'm gonna jump you a little bit. It's Red One, $250 million, which we discussed earlier. And we also discussed how The Rock made $50 million on his own from it.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, you may be surprised to learn. You may be surprised to learn that despite The Rock thinking that this could be the next Oppenheimer, he's watching Oppenheimer in IMAX. He says, holy shit, Red One on this screen with this technology could be game over. Now those comments, I see he was predicting his own failure.
Yeah.
It wasn't predicting massive success in the industry. He was predicting, oh shit, if once people see my shitty movie on these big screens, it's game over for me.
Yeah. Oppenheimer's about a giant bomb, and he made a giant bomb.
That's Red One opens with 34 million domestically on a budget of 250 million. So not even enough to pay The Rock's budget,
because only about half goes to the profit. So
big fucking colossal disaster, something like that. Now I do like that it's an original IP. I want to support original IPs, but not when they are generic tubs of baby shat and an amalgamation of all the worst ideas, and corporatism and shit, and Amazon MGM ideas of what they think a Christmas movie should be, with really bad pacing, bad tone, everything. Watch our movie review for more in-depth and why it was terrible. It was so terrible, in fact, that it made Joe age, and he became a tall adult man.
Through the power of Christmas.
With some gray in his hair. No, Jay joined us for that one.
He was not happy about being there.
Yeah, we subjected Jay to that film. And instead we could have had some of that money go towards something like Splinter Cell. Sad day.
Yeah.
Sad day.
No more film. They are still, apparently, as of right now, pushing forward with the anime series for Netflix.
Okay. Maybe that can pump up excitement and prove to the corporate interests, this does make money. Let's try to get it going.
Ubisoft is desperate. Remember, they're still doing NFT games right now. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago that they're still doing that. So I imagine that maybe someone comes forward and is like, "Fine, look, I'll give you a little bit of money. Let's do Splinter Cell."
It's been a long time because that shit was announced, back in 2012.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Tom is like, "What? I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was gonna be in that." Well, it's official. He's not gonna be in that.
They can get Timothée Chalamet. He's hot right now.
No, thank you.
No, okay.
Not for Sam Fisher.
It worked real well for Nathan Drake, right? Mm-hmm. No one had any problems with, Okay. Ubisoft has appointed a new chief people officer, and this chief people officer is going to try to unfuck what has been fucked. Now, I don't know if you know this, but you cannot do that.
No.
Once I'm not going to repeat it because you can get demonetized for saying the word too many times. You can't unring the bell, so to speak. Everyone over there is pissed. People don't want to work there. They've been allegedly groped. Women have not been promoted. Managers are creepy. Allegedly, the owners are creepy. There's all sorts of terrible things. People are striking. 700 people were on strike in France and walked out. Other places did the same in solidarity. This person has to fix all of those things. And then just try to figure out a way to have things keep going because their company is not
Things not going well.
Not going well. I mean, we're talking about potentially hostile takeovers from the owners, taking the company private again.
But don't worry, Assassin's Creed Shadows will save everyone.
Well, that NFT game that we talked about a couple weeks ago,
We'll save everyone.
That is a $63,000 skin. They only need to sell what
one,
a couple 100,000 of those, and they'll be right back on track. Yeah. Ubisoft's also getting sued. Brand new lawsuit coming against them in the state of California, claiming that when people purchased the Crew in after company turn, let's see, that they were not notified at the time when they purchased it that it was a license for a game. They're like, no, I'm going to play the game because this game is always online. And if Ubisoft doesn't host the server, then you just can't simply play. And it's like, look, there's no problem with selling games as a license. You just have to notify consumers. We did not get notified. And now they want to turn it into a class action suit. So just another one of the lawsuits.
I don't know. I like the sentiment here because I agree with, I hate the digital licensing. I hate the fact that you really don't own your games anymore. You're owning, the license. But at the same time, they've been doing these license agreements, if you read the fine print, for years, way before the Crew ever came out. And so I'd have to look at the particulars of the court filing documents. If Ubisoft actually forgot the screen that pops up that you agreed to it or something, when it's doing the online portion of the game, maybe these people have some merit. And hopefully their goal is to just force Ubisoft to keep some of these servers online or allow other people's to keep the servers online without legal, ramifications or being sued. But if they're trying to, sue them for millions and millions of dollars, I just don't think it's going to work out because most of the times these companies do cover their ass. And by simply logging in, you're auto-consenting. But if they forgot the screen, then yeah.
And it's also it would be pretty easy for them to just go back through their old catalog that they plan on canceling and just create offline modes for some of these games. It's like, look, you don't need to be able to connect. If you want to play the single player portion, then fine. But I imagine all new user agreements it's like, hey, you're renting this game, and when we decide to take it away, it's ours for now, which sucks.
Yeah, in April 2024, they completely shut off the servers. Even if you brought a physical copy, you can no longer play it. Two gamers in the United States were not happy about this, and they filed a lawsuit. So I agree with that. November 4th, Matthew Castle and Alan Liu filed a lawsuit in federal court. They said they got duped by telling them they're buying a game when in reality they were renting or limiting the license. So they have to have forgotten to put that screen in there. That's hilarious. The incompetence of Ubisoft.
Which was the largest gaming company in Europe for a long time, worth over $6 billion. They were in charge. Like, they did really, really well.
Yeah.
And they are.
You have to have this language in there, and if it's in there, they have no case. If it's not in there, then their analogy that they use, which their lawyer is very clever with, I like. He says, imagine you buy a pinball machine, and years later, you enter your den to go to play it, only to discover that all the paddles are missing. And the pinball and bumpers are gone. And the monitor that proudly displayed your unassailable high score is removed. I love all the drama there. Because they got to build it up, and the judge and the jury, right.
Yes.
Turns out the pinball manufacturer decided to come into your home, gut the insides of the pinball machine,
and kick your dog.
And remove your ability to play the game that you bought and thought that you owned. Now, that is 100% legit. If there was no screen, if there was no fine print. But if you yourself ignored the fine print, then that's on you. Despite me agreeing with you 100% that even if there's an agreement in there, it's just fucked up, man.
Sucks.
I expect to buy something and still play it. To this day, I wish I could still be playing Chrome Hounds. But those servers are gone. They're dead and gone. Yeah. And I'll never get to play it again. But I wish there was legal recourse where it's like, I bought it once. I don't remember signing the agreement, so maybe the Angry Army could explode and we could keep that game going on our own,
I'm sure. I mean, there's servers pop up for things, and there's also sometimes mods for these games where
Yeah.
it's like, for PC at least, where you can do offline modes for some of them. But
But we probably just do need laws, Meanwhile, United States new law in California aimed at forcing publishers and storefronts to acknowledge, even if you click buy or purchase, that you're actually purchasing just a license all up front. So
we got news from NetEase. So NetEase employees arrested in alleged multi-million-dollar fraud scheme involving up to 30 companies. People were wondering if it's money laundering. Now, NetEase has over and over said, look, some wrongdoing has happened, but it's not money laundering.
Yeah, I saw this news story when you were on vacation. Me and Joe were like, oh, my God, there's so many news stories. How do we cover them on? How does Addicts do this? And that was one where I was like, okay, let's get some more information. Because at the time, the headlines were money laundering.
Yeah. So some reports indicate amounts up to $277 million US.
Wow.
But game developer reports that the actual price is closer to $111 million to $139 million, which is a fucking lot of money. It is a lot of money. And so
it's actually closer to 800 to 1 billion. Yuan.
Yeah.
Yuan?
Yeah, yuan.
Okay. Well, if we do the conversion, that's what?
111 to 139 million.
Okay.
And so they have taken stringent action to try to make sure, but again, saying absolutely no money laundering. There's also some rumors that it had to do with people in charge buying traffic to push people towards their games.
Yeah.
Because the way that a lot of the mobile games work is you're like, oh, what's the most popular mobile game? I don't know what I'm going to play, so I'm going to look at the most popular ones. And there's ones we're shooting to the top.
Yeah.
And so defrauding consumers and involving a bunch of other companies. So we don't know what's happening yet. We do know that stuff like this has happened recently. We were talking about
insider trading.
The Sonic guy went to jail for he was fined $1.2 million and was given a suspended jail sentence for insider trading. So there's a ton of money in some of these games that go way, 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 way beyond. I mean, they're like, oh, well, we made $200 million selling this game. It's like they make that in a couple months.
Yeah.
We're talking about $2 billion with Monopoly Go, and if there's some way to cheat those numbers, they're gonna do it. So
yeah, it's hilarious. That people engage in this as if they're not making enough money. When you get to the top and you start to learn some of these insider tricks and trading and stuff, like if you want to know what some of it is, it's like, for example, let's say Eugene Naka, which is the guy that you had mentioned. He was arrested back in 2022 while he was at Square Enix. But the main accusation was that he bought shares in Aiming Incorporated with the foreknowledge. So he knew that Square Enix was going to be collaborating with that studio on Dragon Quest Tactics, a mobile game. So he's buying up, doing some insider trading, kind of knowing when things are going to happen before they're happening. So Naka was accused of buying A-Team shares just before it began work on a new Final Fantasy VII mobile game. So basically taking all the secrets and making moves in there based on that. Plus a bunch of suspected fraud, information stealing, bullfuckery in the Chinese domestic market operations, and under criminal investigations. So, man, not exactly money laundering, because money laundering is making bad money or dirty money into good money, investing it in a clean business, and then it coming out basically with profits after losses, income, etc., etc. This is just something. This is basically just fraud.
Mm-hmm.
God, man. Whenever you're making tons and tons of money and you have employees near it and they're saying people want to get a piece of it, so you got to be careful. You have to have processes in place. And yeah, NetEase.
NetEase, who makes
that's
Marvel
wonderful.
They make Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, so I guess that goes right into I have a Marvel's rival story. Terrible that we go from fraud into what some of their employees are doing into a positive news story. I have a positive news story on Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is launching with as many heroes as Overwatch introduced over the course of half a decade. So you're going to get all 33 heroes playable. This is something I didn't expect.
How much am I have to pay for that, Joe?
I thought it was going to only come out with like 12, 10, and then slowly we get drip feeded these, which is what all these companies are doing. But no, all 33 out on one. So I'm like worried. Is that going to hurt them? Because I want them to do well on this game.
It's really fun.
But guess what? So yeah, like you said, all of the launch and post-launch heroes will be available for free without you needing to unlock them, which is crazy because that's why some companies have put out 12 and they already have 10 developed, and then they'll slowly leak them out, make you pay for each one because they're not in the free rotation. Yep. So this is wild to me. Did they make that much money on their fraud that they don't need to do? No, because they got arrested.
They
sure
make
that money,
dirty, filthy money.
Yeah. So it's like, but to me, they're going to lose money by doing that.
They're going to. Well, I mean, it's a gamble, right? Because I think what they're hoping is they're going to get so many players wanting to play their game that they will just, whatever
and
the
all the players are always
skins.
engaged with the game because there are just so many characters to try to strategize and figure out and play through and
skins
level
and all the
up.
Things that they go through.
So it must have to be back-ended on the skins or the price of like the microtransactions. So we'll keep an eye on that because it's like if you're not making your money through that, how else are you?
Well, they've also said that there's 6 other characters not included in the 33 which are in development or designed already.
So they're doing it already. I got it.
It's like the first 33 are free, and maybe they will start to trickle them out. You'll need in-game currency or something.
From a gamer standpoint, that to me is gamer friendly because if you put out one of the largest rosters up front for free, then you've satiated good. And then I will allow, you to do the normal one.
I'll just ignore your store page and play the game because I think the game is super fun.
There you go.
Yeah. Did you hear about the wonderful rumors going around? So Disney is not happy with Bob Iger. And so Bob Iger is their current CEO. And so they're working with recruiters from the firm Heydrich and Struggles, which is the funniest fucking collection of and it's
That's weird.
Okay, whatever. I just wanted to read you that name because it's funny to me. But they're
Hydra
and
Hydra.
One of the names that constantly comes up for the replacement of Bob Iger is EA's CEO Andrew Wilson.
Oh my God! As if that guy doesn't already fuck everything up with my favorite games. You want him to be in charge of Disney? I don't know. Disney's kind of fucking up already, right?
Yeah.
So would it really be that big of a difference to us? I don't know.
So bringing him
in. He's going to do microtransactions and fucking digital packs. Bust out digital fucking packs of Ahsoka and fucking Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah.
And okay. I don't know.
It could be really easy for them to do. They already have the Disney, collectible card thing, and then you could just integrate it and all sorts of.
No, but this is on Disney Plus. So if you want to watch episode 7 of season 2 of Ahsoka, you got bust packs.
Yeah, it gives you a different background for your Disney Plus, a different UI thing, and they charge you for all sorts of things. Now he doesn't have some of the experience that some of these analysts are like. Look, he's really great in what he does. He maximizes the amount of profit to the point where it's almost absurd how well they do. But he doesn't have the TV or the movie thing. But his name keeps popping up over and over.
Yeah, you don't need to know shit about TV or movies to make profit.
Yeah, apparently not. And so his name keeps coming up, and so I thought it would be funny.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna have to give him a lot of money to lure him away from where he's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
At EA.
I think
I would.
It's a completely different. Yeah. Okay.
If he leaves, maybe there's small hope somebody replaces him at EA that's a little more gamer friendly. I doubt it.
Oh no, they have the COO. I think his name's Jorgensen. Is just as filthy as Bob Iger.
Okay.
In all of these news stories we constantly read, it's like he's the number 2. Mm-hmm. He would immediately just get pushed in the same situation. He's exactly the same.
Yeah.
So. I think it's a pretty it would be a decent pay raise for Andrew Wilson if he just makes
they
what Bob
have bigger
Iger makes.
properties. Frankly, Disney has way bigger properties than EA does, and if he was in charge, he would milk the fuck out of every goddamn property he can. And often that does not lead to the best outcomes for these franchises.
Yeah, but you're thinking long term, and these people think short term. We
Right.
only think about this current fiscal year. Period. I need to know what the numbers are. And it's like, well, we're
I
lighting
need
our
that
properties
10
on.
to 20% uptick on my return every year.
And if I know that it's
Every year!
if it's going to shit the bed next year, I can short the
You're
stock
fired!
and then move on. No, they
Yeah.
don't fire the people at the top. Well, they do. They give them a golden parachute.
For $30 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, when we give the people at the top that golden parachute, he can rain down money on us little people.
It's so
golden
funny that like when we talk about this and we're so like jaded and cynical and all that, we're making all these jokes, but that shit is real.
Yeah.
The reason why we talk like this is because all of this has happened and we are in this world daily and we see it happening and none of it ever changes and they don't ever seem to learn from any of it. So yeah, just make money until the thing dries up and turns into a husk. And they have to get super desperate and completely reverse course and change course. People get fired, golden parachutes, new people come in and run the thing into the ground, same thing.
I mean, there's something called the trust thermocline, which is fascinating. And some companies, all companies, the big ones research it, where it's like people will be into a product, into Disney, for example. They'll watch, they'll buy, they'll do all these other things. And then all of a sudden, almost without explanation, they abandon it completely. And so I know it happened with me with Magic the Gathering, where I was buying stuff, we were going to all the things, and then eventually they did 1, 2, 3 too many things. We're just like, fuck it. And everyone in our group quit, except for Keith. But Keith only plays Arena, and he doesn't spend any money. But Keith, do better. But we all quit. And that happens for a lot of consumers. And there's only so much of this. We need short-term stuff before you completely lose the market. So, fascinating.
Yeah. But they're counting on younger generations to come in and fill your role because you suck. You're like old guard, and you didn't really spend much money. You weren't brainwashed in the sense that all games should have microtransactions. All games should squeeze you for every penny.
Yeah.
People coming in after you are already ready and used to that.
Yeah, but
so
they're
that's what's
Roblox.
scary. That's what's super scary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, I got one. Call of Duty Treyarch. It was a pleasant surprise, actually. We did this when you and me and Zero were playing some Call of Duty, kind of taking a break from Dragon Age because Dragon Age is...
You can only eat so much horse shit before you need a break.
Yeah, so we played the new season of Warzone and the new maps in Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and I was like, okay, I'm leveling kind of slow. And I was going to make a point of that in the review, but I thought, I got the XP tokens, so let me load those up. So when I opened my XP tokens, I was like, holy shit, I have a lot of tokens. All right. I was super happy. I was like, I must have just never spent them or something the first time around. And it turns out that this was an error. Mm-hmm. These were legacy XP tokens. You could get these by completing timed events, finishing a battle pass, collaborations, but there was a bunch more XP tokens sitting in people's inventory. So I started using them. I'm a hoarder, so I'd like to save them, and I was using them very not liberally, conservatively, and I shouldn't have done that because apparently COD was like, oh no, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Those weren't supposed to be there. Those from previous games.
You're supposed to pay for those.
You got to pay for these, and so they fucking took them away. One of the latest updates erased the legacy tokens.
Gamers reacted reasonably.
Or as Activision put it, fixed an issue that incorrectly allowed legacy tokens to be activated in the Black Ops 6 UI. So apparently the UI, you see times 6. It was accessing tokens that were either locked or from older games somehow.
This is the problem.
People were able to
spaghetti code. If all of your games are 500 gigs of mashed together things.
So, but obviously it pissed players off.
Yeah.
Going from praising Treyarch for providing them, and I was like, all right, man, I'm actually encouraged. I was planning to play some more this week, but they patched it out. Players called the move greedy, a joke, arguing the legacy tokens were disabled to artificially inflate their retention mechanics. They basically blasted them, and it did end up to actually leading to something. So, with the start of Season 1, the UI bug allowed players to activate Legacy XP tokens in Black Ops 6. Unfortunately, it also introduced some potential risk to game stability, which is why we patched it yesterday. Just trying to come up with an excuse for what
risk to game stability? Yeah. Oh, no, too many.
You mean risk to your game retention, like everybody was literally telling you. Yeah. We realize how much players appreciated being able to redeem Legacy XP tokens in both Black Ops 6 and Warzone, so we are currently testing a way to implement this change correctly in future updates. This allows us time to ensure stability is maintained before we reintroduce this feature. So, yeah. In the interim, players can activate any Legacy tokens in Warzone. Any tokens applied in Warzone will also apply to Black Ops 6 should you switch titles or mode. We look forward to sharing more about this change next week. Thank you for your patience. But in conclusion, they said, okay, these are worth it, and, players are pissed if we start taking them away. So I guess they gave some back. I don't know what all that PR speak. It's hard to cut through some of the PR speak that they say. I need to go look at my inventory to see if I still have that same amount. But basically, worst case, I think it's just they're going to leave it like that, and then in the future never make that mistake again, and whoever made that mistake is probably fired.
It's fired.
Yeah.
And your kids are fired, and we fired your dog.
Yeah, players are likely getting this feature because of luck, not kindness. If a UI bug hadn't have accidentally popped up and given players access to those Legacy XP tokens, then Treyarch might have well kept this feature under lock and key. So, yeah.
Yeah. They don't want you doing it. They want you to pay money.
Yeah. Unexpected increase in how much XP the average player can earn may potentially throw a wrench into their future time-sensitive events, as players can complete things that require XP quicker.
And that would be terrible for
artificially slowing it. Yeah, because I think the issue was with the Legacy XP tokens, it can be used across all the modes. They're like more flexible, I think, is what was going on.
It just lets you level up your guns at an appropriate rate, because grinding guns is one of the most important time sinks for them. So
yeah, not only that, but it works in Warzone and Black Ops 6. But okay, so there's a company with its hand caught in the cookie jar and giving people too many things, and then coming up with excuses of how they didn't mean to do that. But we saw how you guys enjoyed it, so we'll try to do something for you. Maybe leave them, but that'll never happen again. Okay, well, that's all I got, guys. Speaking of trying to get your money's worth, right now you can get your money's worth. Extra wallets up to 50% off. There you go. An actual physical product that will last you a long time. Cool as hell gadget. You can give it to your friends and supports the show. Evercell supports us. So thank you guys so much for watching. We also released part 1 of the news. Go check that out if you haven't already. And thank you so much, and much more content to come this week. And we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.